Good evening, good morning, and good night to everyone. On today's video, a special shout out to one of the fellows who asked me to make this video for you. This is a video on how to get a special ending for one of your interests for your characters. For this episode, we'll probably covering Eugene. So for this one, the best way to get your favorite character is to just make the correct choices corresponding to their likes and preferences. This can be discovered through going over those multi-choices and seeing what response gets the best reaction. You'll either get one heart, which is pretty bad, no hearts, or you'll get, I suppose I would consider 2 to 3 hearts. But we'll just go through that with you guys. If you want, I can create a log of all the positive and best choices you can make, although that will take a little while, but we'll just get stuck right into it. To go over the basics of how you can achieve a high likability with characters. First point of contact is here. So as you can see, you go to different areas of the school, and then after the period of time gets to 0, you will get one of the attainable items from the bottom. Now, while these puzzle pieces are great, and even better to get gems, it is also not bad to just get basic items like these 3 here. Honestly, I don't use the helps very much in terms of which answer is the right one. You can use them. I never really do, because in the end, if you make a wrong choice, you can just exit out of the episode and then start it from scratch. Very tedious. However, honestly, it's just kind of more or less what you would like to approach it with. This is something I would prefer to do rather than maybe using all these and then not needing to. So generally you want these. Why? Because if you go to your map down the bottom, here are your characters and the likability rates that they're at. So you can see Lawrence's, his is not too bad. Ethan's is good. You got Egan, Harry, and Zion. Out of the hardest characters to get likability with, I would argue it would be Egan and Lawrence. Zion, he's kind of mid. So same with Harry, but I would say Ethan, as you can see, is probably the easiest to get that with. Harry's kind of mid. He's between Ethan and Zion, probably the second hardest character. Admittedly, Egan's probably one of the hardest. When you get items like those at the bottom, the chocolate bar, the water bottle, you put them to that character, it increases their likability. See? You want that. Why? Because at the end of the character story, the likability needs to be at 100 in order to get their special ending. This can be achieved through doing special choices, and this can also be done through going on, see these question marks, going on, I would say, expeditions outside of the school. By choosing your desired character to go outside the school with, it increases their likability. And the last thing that comes into play is the clothes. Now, there are 3 events throughout all the entirety of the story. I believe, from recollection, it also usually goes hand in hand with these 3 segments of the story. You need special clothes in order to successfully get a positive response and outcome from that situation, an advantage. But with doing that, you also get a lot of increase in likability from all the characters. So the comfy sweater is the first scenario that you will come across. The second, which is sporty clothes with a wooden stick, will help you through the second. I'm not going to spoil too much. And the last one is for, of course, the last scenario that you're going to come across. All of them play a part in the story, all of them important. If you don't have them, the game doesn't kill you. It's just that the outcome is less favorable and you don't get that high likability with all those characters. Admittedly, It's hard to get those clothes though, because they are quite expensive. But the best way that you can approach those scenarios is probably by saving the gems. I find that's probably one of the best ways to go about it. Starts with the clothes, and then the special choices that you use diamonds to get. So for example, let's see here. These puzzle pieces, more or less just I believe, a personal kind of preference. You get a lot of rewards for completing the puzzle, as you can see here. However, it's really, really hard to complete the puzzle. It takes a lot of time. And unless you're really committed to grinding the game, you're going to take forever. I wouldn't bet all your money on this, but I wouldn't disregard it as well because of obvious benefits that fall in line there, and a special item as well. So when you are going through those multi-choice questions in each episode, it will reflect likability either to a specific character based off of maybe favoring a character's decision over others, or just one dependent, regardless of which choice you choose. However, the level of likability reflected will change. So obviously, one of those three options is better than the others. You want to choose that one. The game will show you a sign on which ones are better and which ones aren't. It's usually by a certain sound and also by a certain amount of hearts that actually appear. Sometimes if you choose a negative choice, no hearts will appear and it will make a negative kind of ding sound. If you make a good choice, it will show a lot of hearts and then the character's likability going up. But as I said as well, you don't have to get those special choices. It's very tricky because you need to save up those gems, and you would do it through obviously watching adverts. See, as you can see down here, you can watch ads. Would I recommend purchasing it? It's not necessary, but I know people probably would choose it. Honestly, let me see. I'll be explore each guy's story. I can't remember exactly what these do. It's been a little while. I'll definitely remember later. But one way of doing it is daily the adverts reset. Tedious to do this 5 times in a row. However, it is one way of getting a bunch of diamonds. The second is obviously through the repairs, albeit I would probably prefer getting these, not only because of the fact that you can increase their likability, but if you get a special item, for example, tomatoes is Harry's favorite, you will unlock one of his memories. So these two, there's one here, one memory, and there's 2 memories. By getting their special items, you can unlock those memories with them. For example, Ethan is, I believe, tape, hand tape. Honestly, I can't remember his, but probably glasses cleaner. And I don't remember his one, but it's definitely amidst the places that you can travel throughout the school. Okay, the next another place that you can go is, let me see here, is this. Yeah, that's right. So you can get free diamonds, or rubies, through completing game tasks. Now, I don't recommend going for the harder ones. The more diamonds, generally speaking, the harder it is to complete. They usually have a deadline, and in all honesty, it consumes too much of your time. I do not have an extreme amount of patience. These will take you at least a week of commitment, if not longer. So essentially what you want to do is you want to narrow these down. You can either go to the web ones where you answer questions and complete a quiz, but my favorites are actually, let me see, doesn't have the old search bar like it used to, But essentially what I usually like to do is there is usually just one of these, instead of it's being reach a certain level or play for so many hours or spend so much money in a game, you just download the game, install and open the game. That's it. And it'll give you diamonds or rubies. I find that's the best way to do it. They're always going to show you the highest numbers at the top. But because of this, it's going to be extremely hard for you to get any of them. Okay? So probably, let's see, is it still working? No. Okay. Nonetheless, what you usually do is go by the least to the highest. I believe there is a sort category for that. There is not. Okay. Regardless, choose the easiest one. Choose the simplest one. Usually it can be found by like just installing the game. So that's my recommendation for these. Don't do the overcomplicated ones. Don't do the hard ones. Maybe take a survey, something simple, but nothing overcomplicated. The harder and more money, well, more gems it has, generally speaking, probably one of the most impossible ones to get without spending your money regardless. And we're trying to do a no gotcha type of run, if you get my drift, under the assumption that somebody doesn't want to spend money on this game. And personally, I have not, but hey, each their own. Let me see here. But yeah, they've got two there, obviously. Ah, this one's the one I think I'm more familiar with. Yeah. Yeah, so for example, this one is really, really good. You would just install the app and then you will get the rewards by also opening it. Make sure that when you install it, you open it, make it run for a little bit, then close it, and then jump back into the game. Let's see if we can do you guys an example of that one. So we'll go install. And then you want to, if this doesn't take forever, okay. Open the game. Okay, it's got trigger warning. Now, usually I would accept that, but on this instance, I'll see if I can get away with it. I probably won't. Next thing you want to do is you want to close that. You want to reopen it. Okay. Sometimes it gives you a bit of grief. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the app and reopen it and see that if it refreshes. Generally speaking, these guys are pretty good when it comes to their install and complete the tasks, but there are some that don't work as well, in which case I would recommend getting into contact with their support. But just let me see if I can get that one working, and that way I can just see if that one is actually suitable for you guys. Okay, so after having a bit of fiddle with that one, I can tell that's going to take a little bit longer because it wants me to actually get a reward from that game. So it wants another form of interaction more than just installing the game. Personally, it holds no meaning for me to do. However, for you guys, that might be an opportunity for you to get like 100 and something gems, or rubies, however you want to put it. I think it is a good opportunity for minimalistic effort, but I just don't require it, so I'm not going to chase that one further. So with this one, we should now start to get stuck into the episodes, and I'll just go over some of the scenarios that you can come across that will have multi-choice questions. Okay, so now we're in chapter 4, just at the beginning. I am just going to just put it on auto and just triple speed it through. You guys can definitely read through the story. I've gone through it way too many times. especially when you're trying to do multiple character special endings, you will go through these and essentially it'll just become second nature. You've already read it, you've already done it. You'll memorize the best choices to go through. So yeah, we'll just skip through these. Okay, so now we are faced with our first scenario. Now, again, shout out to one of our friends from YouTube. So for Maisha-chan, just because she requested for this video, which is cool with me. So with these three choices, this one's actually going to reflect on Eugene. Now the reason being is because he's actually going to appear later and not too long after we make our choice. So if we choose the one at the top, he's not going to have any favorability with us, no likability at all, because that's pretty dumb is how he sees it. Not sure, we'll give, half marks. He's not going to be too happy, but it's not going to be, again, in his favor. But if you choose the more reasonable, normal response at the bottom, he'll be happiest with that. Be mindful going through the story, there will be time-limited choices throughout some of the choices in the game, especially around those question mark events. They will need you to act fast and choose the correct choice the first time. But again, no pressure. If you do end up making the wrong choice, the worst you can do is just exit the episode and have to start it again. Really not that bad. Tedious, time consuming, but not that bad. Doesn't cost you anything to have to redo it again. So we'll just go with the bottom choice. If you're not sure on which choice you have to choose, I'll just use one of mine. You can actually use this, and it will, as you can see, highlight the correct choice with the best favorability. You can do that with ones you're not really sure and you don't want to have to do it all over again if you choose the wrong choice. So this is probably one way you can approach it. Don't waste your money though on actually using game money to purchase these light bulbs. In all honesty, they're expendable, and if you're going for a cost efficient or no spending route, I'd say use them when you want. You don't have to save them up, in all honesty. But if you use just kind of common sense with some of these questions, you'll likely get a positive outcome. So we'll choose that one. As you can see, we just had a sound effect, hearts. So it's the best choice to go with. Made Egan happy. And of course, yep, now we've run into him. That was why it reflected him, because he's doing patrol, and obviously we shouldn't be out doing stupid stuff. This usually also factors into when you're encountering other characters in the game. They will expect you to make more reasonable choices, and it usually only impacts them in favorability. But there are scenarios where you'll have to somewhat pick a side or an opinion that you agree with most. And in those cases, favorability will increase with only one of the individuals. Okay, so again, another choice that we've been faced with. In this scenario, you would imagine maybe this would be a split amidst a couple of your friends. No, this is for Harvey. So if you chose the lab, he's not going to be too happy because you saw the zombie on level 1, and obviously it's not the smartest choice. The rooftop, again, probably not a good choice. Reason being is because you can it's still dangerous as they see it, but the schoolyard, apparently you will find something there. So as you can see, because it's highlighted, so we're going to go with that choice, and then that should take us through a special scenario. I'm not going to go through that one so that I can save it for you guys to go through, but usually there is an advantage to choosing the choice that the game recommends as well as what the characters want. Another positive is at the end of the episode, as you can see, you will usually be offered a ruby. You can times it by 2 to get 3. I would definitely do that. Well, sorry, 2 to get 2 rubies. Just exploit and take advantage of every opportunity that's in front of you. Yeah, it might take a little bit longer, but it's probably one of the best ways to get those gems without having to obviously open your wallet. Okay, so in reflection for Egan, so obviously his most preferable choice amidst these ones is Won't You Help Me? So for him, he's kind of more difficult to read, in my opinion, compared to the other characters. It has been a while, so I don't quite remember all the positive choices, which is why I'm just using the helps. Not that I need them anyway, so they're quite useful in this scenario. So you want to make sure you go through and just make sure that you choose the right ones. Again, you can just restart the chapter, if anything, but it just comes down to your preference. I've forgotten about this, but by completing certain episodes, you will obviously get a puzzle piece, as you can see here. It assists in the puzzle, and it's also compulsory in a way. So they're pieces that from what I remember, you can't get from the search. So it plays its part, but most of them will come from those classroom searches within the school. Okay, as you can see here, it says critical. So this is one of those events that I was mentioning before. So because we're going to do the first scenario, you're going to need a comfy sweater. So you'll need to, you don't have to have it equipped before the scenario. It will send you back to either buy or equip it. And that will help impact your end of game decision or for this event. And then you can go forward from there. I will jump into it and skip right to it, and then hopefully I'll show you how that plays out. Okay, so now we've reached the section of the game that I mentioned before. They want you obviously to change your outfit, so they want you to equip this, ready, and then continue the story. Now if you don't have it equipped, it will change the situational outcome. In other words, your character won't behave in a certain way that they would if they had it on. So for example, in the scenario, you won't be able to get away from the situation with an advantage compared to if you don't have it. It'll play out negatively. Not that you die or anything, you might just get a bit of a scare, and obviously you'll miss out on that increase in likability with all characters. So that also comes down to how well you do these answers for these questions and how fast you do it, okay? See. So that says that everyone gets likability. That's why that doesn't show a specific character, because everyone gets increased likability. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out already, I'm pretty sure anyone who plays this game will. Probably just mute me at this point if you don't want spoilers, but the person that was there doing that, or the thing, if others assume as such, was actually obviously the ominous guy with the glasses. I've forgotten his name, but he's a dick. Yeah. One thing that I'll point out in terms of negative for this game is it is very tedious, and I mean extremely. So if you played through this game a bunch of times, you will know, unfortunately, there is no fast forward button. that is probably one of the worst parts to this game. The cool parts is you'll get special scenes with those characters once you've completed certain actions with them. This is the good part though. So this is the normal ending, the best ending that you can get. If you want me to go through the best ending and just put it on no talking and play it, I'm more than happy to do that. Just give a shout out in the comments and I'll do a recording. But if you want special endings for the characters individually, unfortunately you have to go back through the game and get to the end again with their most likability. These are from the Night Watchers, so you can in fact replay the Night Watchers with them, which is cool, but otherwise you do need to go back through the game in order to do their specific special ending. I won't give any spoilers away on what those situations entail, but nonetheless, I think the best and normal ending of the game is by far the more appropriate outcome compared to the others, albeit that others are more obviously dramatic. So what I'll do is I'll skip to the end of this for all of you guys, and then I'll just give you guys Egan's special ending. Stick around if you want to watch that one at the end. I won't be talking, but otherwise that's all the tips I can give for now. If you want further clarification or have anything else, hit me up in the comments, and I'll see what I can do for you. If you got any other special requests, like our other friend from before, then just put a comment down, and yeah, and I'll see if I can help you out. Okay, have a good morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and I suppose enjoy.